Hi, I'm Thom Bateman, and today we are going to make a wood-fired roast beef dinner on the Gozney dome with cauliflower cheese, Yorkshire puddings, honey glazed carrots, roast potatoes, and the most amazing gravy. For any roast dinner, you need to get organised now, especially with a wood-fired oven. You're going to get things in the right order so everything comes together at once. So the first thing we need to do is make the Yorkshire puddings, because we're going to need to rest that batter and we want to do those last thing so we've got full control over the temperature. Please don't do this. All you're going to do is put shell in there, tap it on the side and crack it in. So break those up and then go in with the flour. And then we're going to add the milk. So I'm just going to season that. Salt, and a little bit of black pepper. Traditionally white pepper, doesn't make that much difference. Then we're going to set this away in the fridge to rest, so it's nice and chilled before it hits the hot fat later. So another thing that we can make ahead and then finish off later is the gravy. So we're going to make a base for that. Nice warm pan, a little bit of oil. And then this is a mixture of roughly chopped carrots, celery, onion, some garlic, thyme, rosemary and bay leaf. Salt, pepper. If you try and make gravy with just stock, it'll be okay, but if you can pack in more flavour, then why would you not? This is also how you make gravies in restaurants, because if you try and make it with just the meat juices, you'll never ever have enough. Those vegetables have now softened nicely, and we're going to go in with the red wine, Worcestershire sauce and our beef stock. The better your stock, the better your gravy. I like to make my own. Realise that's not always possible, so just buy the best one you can. This goes back in to reduce. So that gravy base is nicely reduced. We're going to put that to one side and then finish that off later once we've roasted the beef. So the next thing to get started is the cauliflower. So instead of boiling it, we're going to roast it in the dome. It's just going to get a much better flavour, brings out a nuttiness to that cauliflower. Really, really tasty versus boiling or steaming. A little bit of oil, salt, pepper, straight in the dome. We're going to roast that for around about 20 minutes. Okay, so that cauliflower is now nicely roasted. It's just got a little bit of bite left to it, which you want to keep in there because you're going to put it back in later on. Combine that with some bechamel sauce, a little bit of cream, and nice, strong, sharp cheddar. I'm going to mix that all through and then set it in another dish ready to be warmed through later. It's just a much better way than just putting sauce on the top. Give that another grating of cheese. Plenty of it. And that's now ready to go in the oven later when we finish everything off. So for the carrots, we've got a pan nice and warm there. And we're going to add some beef dripping. If you don't have beef dripping, you could use oil or sadness. I've got some garlic cloves there. Fresh thyme, salt, pepper, some carrots. I'm using Chantenay carrots here, but any carrots are fine. Give that all a nice toss through. Then we're going to roast those, and then when we finish them off later, we're going to drizzle them with honey as well. A nice bit of sweetness. So we pull the carrots out and they've just still got a little bit of bite left. You don't want those too soft because you're going to warm them up again later with the honey. So we'll set those to one side and then we'll get onto the beef. We have a lovely piece of dry aged sirloin here. We're going to use sirloin because It is a more expensive piece for a roast, but the yield is much higher. There's no waste on it. So this has been brought up to room temperature, very important for an even finish, especially in such a hot oven as the dome. Don't be shy with the salt on this because it's the exterior. You probably season the inside after as well. So a rub of oil. You want something with a high smoke point for this, so something neutral. Don't be using your extra virgin olive oil for that, it's a waste. So we've got the pan nice and hot. We want to sear that. Render the fat first, fat side down, give that a press. Straight in. So we want to sear it all the way around, and then we're going to suspend it on a rack above the pan so it cooks more evenly, so the air can circulate. So we've got a nice sear on that. You can see the fat starting to really render down. So we're going to put that onto the rack, back into the pan. And we're just going to reduce the temperature a little bit in that oven because we don't want it too hot. So we're looking at around about 270 just to finish off the cooking. So that goes back in and we're cooking to temperature, not time. So with a big piece of meat like that and a high temperature, you want to pull it a little bit earlier than you probably expect. So for a medium rare to hit sort of 53, 54 Celsius internal, we want to pull it at around about 42, 43, maybe 44 Celsius, somewhere around that early 40s, and it'll rest all the way through to give you that finish. Obviously, if you want it done a little bit more, then do it along that, but allow for sort of 8-9 degrees of internal temperature rise through the resting. So we're going to use the temp probe from the dome just to keep an eye on that, make sure we're getting that internal temperature just spot on. So I can see that's 32 Celsius at the moment, so we've got a long way to go yet. Okay, so that's reached the temperature we were looking for, at 41, 42 internal temperature right in the centre. We're going to rest it on the rack for the same reason that we cooked it on the rack, so the air can circulate and you'll get a more even finish. So we'll deglaze this pan with red wine and add our gravy base mix to it, and that'll be the gravy done. Okay, so red wine goes in, use that to deglaze that pan, get all that beefy goodness off the bottom. And then we have our gravy base from earlier. Those veggies and herbs in there have done their job now, so we're just going to press through all the liquid. Then we can just reheat that when we're ready to serve. That's the gravy done. So while that beef rests, we're going to get on and cook the Yorkshires, and then it'll be a case of heating through the cauliflower cheese, the carrots, and we'll be ready to serve. For the Yorkshire pudding, we've got a muffin type tray here. We're going to add a little teaspoon of beef dripping. You could use oil for this as well. I just prefer the beef dripping. If you're having roast beef, might as well go. The whole hog seems wrong. The whole cow. Okay, so we need to get that nice and hot. We're using the door to try and control the temperature a bit. So that dripping's melted nice and hot. And we're just going to aim for the centre of the muffin tray. Fill them 2/3 up. And straight in with the door shut. We're running it around the 220 mark, so that really was about ideal. So I would say 20 to 25 minutes, they should be nice. We'll see how we're getting on with these Yorkshire puddings. A nice rise on those. So now we're going to build up the fire again, finish off the cauli cheese and the carrots, and then we're going to be ready to serve. So we got some roast potatoes here to go with the roast beef, for which you can find the recipe in this link. Those rustly. So just a bit of honey just to glaze those up. They are ready to go. Obviously, just leave out those bits of garlic and herbs. So the idea with this is we're going to serve it all up family style. So we're going to put it all on a tray and people can just dig in. And just the idea of a Sunday roast for me. Okay, we're going to slice up the beef. A chef's treat off the end. So the beef we've got just as we wanted. It's really lovely, even colour, especially with that resting. Just gives you that perfect sort of pink medium rare for a roast beef. And as you can see, no waste off that. The advantage of using the sirloin, again, a bit more expensive, but zero waste. So cauliflower cheese is done. So it's just a case of building this all up. All that wonderful beef straight into the middle. Our Yorkshires, lovely crispy roasties. Now beef fat, honey glazed carrots. It's time to dig in, so let's get some of that glossy, glorious gravy on there. Now I'm going to give it a try first, just for quality assurances. Someone else needs to eat this immediately. So good. Lauren Rocks, are you around?
Oh, that is the most tender beef I've ever had. That is 10/10. Where's our cheese? What's it then? It's not a package. Do you know what I mean? For the recipe, go to Gozney.com.